Well, this country's in the pits, and I really should admit that I feel it's time to do something about it. Our democracy is splintered, sold out to the highest bidder, and I only see a single way around it. Oh, let's stop being so attendant and declare our independence and create a nation where we're in control. We can find a little island and we'll climb up to the highlands and we'll paint a flag and hoist it from a pole. Oh. Well, it's sounding pretty sweet, but it's a little incomplete. There'd be nothing there to eat but weeds and ants. We could bring along some friends and they could do the odds and ends and start a farm so we could live off of the land. Oh. A place to stay so we could find a way to pay to hire an architect and builders to construct it. I suppose they need to buy some rudimentary supplies. They could use my credit card and just deduct it. Oh,
that is pond water from all the way over there. I strung together every garden hose I had. Aquaponics is the use of fish water to grow plants. So in order to expedite that process, pumping water out of one of the fish ponds into the system, and then I'll try to catch me some brim and throw them in here. So that's where I'm at now. I'm almost finished. I got the auto siphons installed. They work perfectly. I rinsed all the 3/4 inch gravel with a garden hose, and then function tested each of the auto siphons. They start siphoning and they go full bore and then they shut off. I don't know if you've ever seen an auto siphon before, but what it is it's a 7-inch pipe down there, and then we've got this contraption. And once it starts siphoning, it pulls water through these holes, and then the level slowly goes down, and then when it sucks air, it breaks the siphon and then starts the cycle all over again. So aquaponics is a filling of water in a grow bed, and it fills about 10 inches. The top will always remain dry, but just 2 inches down you'll start seeing moisture. And when it auto siphons down, it sucks oxygen through the rocks and aerates and gives oxygen to the plant roots. And then it starts that cycle all over again. So each one of these grow beds will cycle, the water will go up and then down roughly every 12 to 15 minutes, somewhere in there, depending on the flow from the pond pump, which pumps 2,000 gallons an hour, and that's about the flow of it out of the pond. But the water is probably going to be pretty murky for a while, but once I get the system filled, I'm just going to let it run, let the grow beds fill up and then empty and fill up and empty, and all the sediment should end up in the sump down here and at the bottom 2 inches of each grow bed. That's where the sediment ends up. And incidentally, that's where all the worms end up. Don't know how they're going to get in there, but they swear that the worms get in there. So I'll run this sink for a little while to replace what I'm taking out of this pond. These taps are only 1 inch. So I had to go to 1.5 inch drains, so I had to install 2 of them so I can get the needed volume so this doesn't overflow. So there's 2 drains installed. This is the incoming line from the pond pump. So this is going to fill up and then drain out there and fill the sump up. Once the sump is filled, the water will be pumped out of the sump into the grow beds. So it's probably going to be 8 inches, 10 inches, 8 to 10 inches filling the grow beds. Another little detail is I had to go buy 3 cheap jacks because the 3/4 inch medium that I decided to use was very pretty rock. It's granite rock, but it weighs a ton. The caps on these IBCs, some of them have little weep holes to vent while you're using the bottom drain that is installed on these. So I had a leak on this one, so I had to dig the rocks out and use a rag and a siphon and dry the little hole out with the 2 weep holes, and then I installed some silicone. I've got the same bed here, but that didn't happen. There was no leak underneath. So whether there were no weep holes installed or that they plugged up with the sediment, who knows? Okay, this is the first plant that I'm going to put in the aquaponics system. It's ready too. Now, you don't want all this soil in the aquaponics system, so you just want to get rid of the soil and leave the roots. And I think I have the grow beds correctly leveled, meaning that the rocks are dry on top. Look at those roots, aren't they lovely? They're going to get right down there to the rich nutrient fish water, which I don't have any fish in there yet. A little bit of dirt is okay because it will feed the worms that will end up in the system. So, and I just want to get an idea. Really should wear gloves when I do this. Just kind of get an idea of how happy this thing might become. And the bed grows up, fills up every 12 minutes. So it shouldn't take long. I would imagine 30 minutes to an hour or something. What I'll be looking for is the yellowness right here to turn green. And every time I've used fish water in the past, I have gotten very happy plants. I'm planting the corn now because few of these have gotten root bound. I've already thrown them in the bed, but isn't that something that the seed is still there? Nature's just amazing. I never thought I would have a green thumb, but it turns out I do. And I think all you need for a green thumb is to learn about what plants like. And the first drink that these plants taste of this high nutrient fish water, they will thank you for it. Well, the other thing is, Aquaponics, you can crowd your plants as much as you like, as tight as you can get them in there, because they don't rob nutrients and oxygen and water from the surrounding plants. This line is from the fish tank. It continuously feeds the fish tank and then it dumps back here. The pond pump is in this sump. So it takes the high nutrient fish water and pumps that into each grow bed. Now you'll notice the one in the back is working off an auto siphon. In other words, the level had already gotten up to a set determination. It's about 10 inches high, and it's an auto siphon that dumps the water out. When the water level reaches the bottom, the water level hits holes inside of the auto siphon mechanism, and it sucks air, breaks the siphon, and then the process starts all over again. You see this one, bottom right, for this grow bed, it's actually starting its auto siphon now. It starts off very slowly, and then once that kicks in, the water just rushes. It goes full bore and drains the bed. This one on the left that I was just planting in is starting its auto siphon now. It's beginning. It's going to go full bore like that one in the back. This one, for some reason, on the left side, is the auto siphon's running a little more efficiently. And it may be water flow into the bed, and it probably is. See, it's gone full bore now. Well, the final thing to do with this fish tank is to install these risers. And this is on the drain system. I also had to drill holes in the bottom of this cap, which will pull water from the bottom of the fish tank and then out. And I have the water incoming at the top and angled that way so that it swirls the top of the water, part of the aeration system. I also have 2 aerators with 2 ports each and air stones, and then I put regular galvanized nuts, or nickel nuts, 2 of them on each line, so that the line will sink to the bottom. Because there's air in there, they don't quite want to sink. So I came up with that idea just to get them to sink to the bottom. All I'm doing now, none of this is glued, by the way. The only thing I glued was the water inlet, only because I had a slight leak there and I just didn't want to waste pond water. So all I'm doing now is just increasing the diameter of these threads just a hair, so that they pressure fit into the waste valve a little better. Also, what I've done is install a T here with an opening at the top, so the water will come up and then follow that out. And if there's ever a power outage, if I had this capped, it might actually siphon the tank completely dry, and I don't want that to happen. So I want this to break any siphon that may start. And that's it. I want to make a point here. These starter plants, I planted all these into the aquaponics system yesterday. All except this one right here. I figured I would just let it grow just a little bit more to get more of a root system, so the leaves are higher above the rocks. Well, yesterday I watered these with pond water, high in nutrients, oxygenated. All I did was stick a bucket in the fish tank and sprinkle them over this bed. Now look at all the greenery that has occurred just overnight in this bed. There was nothing but soil in these seed pods. So this is one of the reasons why I decided to go with aquaponics. And these IBC tanks, these liners, which is only the section between the top and bottom, and I just didn't have a heart to throw them away, mainly because I have a similar section from the cage. So what I'll do is cut the tops of those. I'll just simply cut this part right here, and I'll set the other end like that on the dirt, and that those cages will keep the flexible material against the cage, and I'll put topsoil in there, and that's where my carrots and potatoes and sweet potatoes and anything else I decide. You never know what you're going to be able to do with what appears to be trash. Well, these plants are so darn happy in the aquaponics system that I decided to cut the plants out of these topsy-turvies. Mainly because it'll be healthier for them in the system, and I don't have to water them. Everything will be automatic. So, as we'll bite the bullet. I spent $10 a piece for these things. I've got 4 of them. I already cut the bell peppers out and the cucumber plant. So what the heck? If you're gonna do something, do it all the way, right? Right? Definitely don't want to hurt it. Don't want to damage it in any way. That's a pretty good growth. I just hate to lose the time I have into it. Alright, here we go. Freedom. There's freedom. I already dug a hole. This rake right here, I'll tell you what, that thing's amazing. I got a scoop, but clearly this rake, I think it was 99 cents, but there it is. The roots in there. I left enough room in the back here for this to head over this way and then head back that way. So I'll just put a couple more posts right there and jumper that across, and they'll have plenty of room and can go to town. And not use much of the grow bed space. I just poked some leaves through here just to kind of get it started. Poor thing doesn't know what to do. It's used to hanging upside down, now it's upright. You noticed yesterday the yellow leaves, look at all this already. There's another shoot right there, just overnight. So look how green that thing is. I don't know if you remember yesterday when I just planted those, there was yellow. So now they're all green and they look very, very happy. The corn looks very content. And they're perking upright, so they're used to their location now and where the sun tracks. Dilemma that I noticed yesterday, this leaf right here was rock hard, almost like the side of the leaf was going to die, maybe the entire leaf. And just overnight, that roughness is gone and it's getting its pigment back. It's just as smooth as the rest of the leaf. So already health is being instilled in these plants. But anyway, that's the system. I'm happy. Now I got a big old mess I got to clean up. So the fun's over. Now starts the boring work.